Good evening and welcome. I'm Neil Gooderman, Dean of the School of Social Service Administration here at the University of Chicago, and it's my distinct pleasure and honor to welcome you to the hooding ceremony for the 2014 graduates of SSA. I'm delighted to see so many SSA graduates, family, friends, and loved ones gathered together to honor our graduates this evening. The hooding ceremony is one of several ceremonial and celebratory events that mark the completion of graduate studies, and it dates back to the earliest traditions of our first universities. The ceremony, whereby a member of SSA's faculty will place a hood over the graduating student, provides a tangible symbol of conferring upon and therefore passing on the learning and accomplishment from teacher to student and now graduate. The ceremony represents a transition moment from student to graduate and to newly minted professional social work colleague. Graduates, when most of you arrived a while back at SSA's orientation, it seemed like it was just a moment ago, you might remember that I pointed out when you entered SSA's Mies building that you had crossed an important threshold, entering a new phase of your professional development and beginning your training as a developing social work professional. Well, today's hooding ceremony and tomorrow's graduation ceremony represent another such threshold. Now, the natural tendency is to think of graduation as an ending point, and understandably so, especially now that you've finished your final assignments, I hope, and each have completed what we call a terminal professional degree. Perhaps like all transitions, though, this moment equally, or I would like to say more importantly, represents a beginning. Indeed, you're at another threshold now, about to embark upon what we hope and expect will become a fulfilling, enriching, and I dare say challenging career. You have each courageously chosen the difficult path, the path that most don't care to, or perhaps even fear to tread, taking on your shoulders many of our society's most complicated, difficult, and deep problems. You'll strive to do so in ways that are clinically and socially beneficial, in ways that serve both your clients and their communities. Even more so, as social workers, you'll strive to do so in ways that doggedly pursue social justice and advance compassionate care and concern for those who all too rarely experience a sense of justice or compassion in their lives. This is whom we serve as a profession, and this is whom we serve now alongside with you as our partners as we welcome you as full colleagues to the profession. While you've been with us at SSA, we have strived to help you develop the intellectual and professional acumen and tools that you'll need for a lifelong and successful career at this most essential work. This has been a tall task, to say the least, to take upon yourselves the lofty ideals of social justice and human compassion, which are at the core of the social work profession, and to learn how to advance such through your deeds, on the ground, every day, at each moment, in the messy, complicated, and yes, I would say stressful worlds that your clients, and indeed that we all inhabit. In the short time that you've been with us, your colleagues at SSA have worked to pass on to you the higher order skills to equip you to carry out this difficult work. That of deep analysis, reflection, reliance on evidence and rigor, combined with a nimble and sensitive use of who you are and what you bring to the role in service to others. SSA is, as you've learned, one of the historic and flagship schools of the profession. And as such, we carry forward and now pass on to you a mantle of leadership in the profession. While you've only been with us a short time, we believe we have planted the seeds of a professional template and identity that will enable you in the years to come to flourish in the field and to deliver tangible and enduring benefit to those most vulnerable. Today is not an endpoint. Your learning will not end here, and it's actually just beginning. And most importantly, to those who most need you, your work is just beginning, and your contribution to the profession is just beginning. We're excited to partner with you, to learn about what you do and where you go, and no doubt, like all of us, your growth will be sustained and nurtured by the support of many others. Many of those who will support you and whom you will support are in fact right here in Rockefeller Chapel this evening. And indeed, they may be sitting next to you or nearby you at this very moment. So we want to acknowledge that this is not just a beginning for each of you as individuals, but rather a shared beginning that makes it possible to carry forward the good work and the difficult and important work that you will do. You're also, I should say, especially fortunate, as you also have the benefit of an inspiring and deeply committed network and association of SSA alumni who will support you along the way and whom you'll have the chance now to support as well. We hope that indeed you'll stay engaged with us as an institution, as a community, to our Alumni Association, as lifelong colleagues and learners, and as partners in the great work that we do and the exceptional ways that SSA helps better the lives of those whom we serve. We're delighted and honored to pass on to you, as our graduates, through this hooding ceremony, the great traditions of the social work profession, to welcome you as colleagues, as together we carry out the urgent task of tackling the most pressing human concerns of our day. Thank you. As part of this evening's hooding ceremony, I'm delighted to introduce to you now Professor Nathan Linsk, who will provide this evening's remarks, and who is this year's winner of SSA's highest award, the Edith Abbott Lifetime Achievement Award. The Edith Abbott Award, named for SSA's first dean, is an honor given to an SSA alumnus in recognition of their distinguished and enduring service to society and outstanding contributions to the profession of social work. Professor Linsk is an alum of SSA's master's program, having graduated in 1974, and he went on to complete his PhD here at SSA in 1982. After graduating, Professor Linsk went on to serve on the faculty of the Jane Addams College of Social Work at the University of Illinois here in Chicago, where he recently retired. Professor Linsk's work over the past 3 decades has helped advance our knowledge and build institutions and programs to respond to the HIV/AIDS epidemic. He's founder of the Midwest AIDS Training and Education Center and the Great Lakes Addiction Technology Transfer Center, and his work tackles the HIV epidemic. His work tackling the HIV epidemic transcends local, national, and cross-national context, having conducted his research and provided expert consultation in such nations as Namibia, Romania, Malawi, Tanzania, and Ethiopia. Professor Linsk has authored 4 books and nearly 50 articles in the field, and he's the founding co-editor of the professional journal, the Journal of HIV, AIDS, and Social Services. Will you please join me in welcoming Professor Nathan Linsk?
Wow, what a place, what a bunch of people. It's very exciting to be here. Thank you so much. Greetings to everyone and congratulations. So, you know, you do various things in your life, and I got the call or an email and asked if I could come and speak to your hooding ceremony, and that really was a big deal, it seemed like to me, and I had to figure out, how do you give this kind of speech? And there were a number of news stories in recent weeks about famous speeches tied to graduation and commencement ceremonies. Although this is a hooding ceremony, I think the same applies. So I've learned that it should honor the occasion, be short, share something about me, be startling or funny, be positive and meaningful, and make you think. Now, that sounds like a tall order, but somehow it all seems appropriate for us as social workers, as we frequently have to focus on the task accomplish a lot in very short time, get people's attention and use humor, engage in meaningful discussion, and help with problem solving and critical thinking. So I'll try to share some thoughts, try to inspire, amuse, or maybe I'll just move the program along so you can get to your hooding ceremony. But I want to reflect here what's been my experience since I stood here for the first time, or stood somewhere, because I don't really remember my master's level graduation, although I have pictures that prove that I was there. What may be useful, what I expected at the time, and also what was surprising and what led to some opportunities. So I'm using myself as a case study. And as such, I want to acknowledge my experience may not be typical, but I hope it has something useful in it for each of you. What were my expectations then? Well, I knew I wanted to do clinical work, but my appetite for research had also been whetted. The focus even then was on research informing practice, even though terms like evidence-based practice had yet to emerge. I was interested in group work. I had begun to be interested in older adults. Now I get to be an older adult. But I'd also worked with youth and teenagers, so I wasn't so particular. The first surprise was the job market. Probably a little better then than it is now, but still very challenging. The first job I took me to northern Minnesota, where my advisor had a bunch of friends and colleagues. They hired me, I worked for 6 weeks, the whole thing fell apart, and I found myself back in Chicago. In fact, I dragged myself back to Chicago. I went to see my aunt and convinced her to give me her car, because I had no way to get around. And I ended up going back to my second year field placement. I was hired to do direct services with older adults. I'd hoped to expand my horizons, but what turned out is I didn't go very far, and I've been in Chicago ever since. So the lesson here is to seek your fortune in the wide, wide world, but don't overlook the opportunities near at hand. The second surprise, job changes. Within weeks of my coming back, my boss was terminated. She was a very well-respected SSA grad herself. We were all bereft. We don't know why the board made this decision. So we had an interim director for 6 months. After 6 months, the executive director asked me to become the head of the social rehabilitation department. Now I agreed, somewhat reluctantly, as some of the other workers had much more experience than I did, but I guess I had the better degree, coming from SSA. And being the only male on the unit may have had something to do with it. I acknowledge that sexism worked in my favor, plus my personal background was a good fit. So I had a wonderful time using my creative energies to develop new programs, supervise a staff of not only social workers, but other clinical and program staff. The lesson learned for you is, as you move on, don't be afraid of outrageous challenges. They may lead to some very interesting outcomes, and you'll learn a lot by addressing them. Well, I was a clinical social worker, but what kind of clinical work were we doing in those days? I was trained at SSA in a generic approach, not the generalist approach. I actually passed up that opportunity when it was first starting. We called it FIGS, working with families, individuals, and groups, and I'm sure nobody here except a few of my colleagues here remember it. And I also studied applied behavior analysis. All of that was supported in the agency more or less, or maybe it was tolerated, but that agency had an underlying psychodynamic approach, overseen by the psychiatric folks in the setting. So I actually provided psychodynamic psychotherapy to people as old as 100 years old, various kinds of group work and problem solving, as well as applied behavior analysis in group and individual settings. I became a kind of clinical mutt and learned that what we then called the eclectic approach, now I think it's referred to as theoretical pluralism and integrative social work, where we draw from different approaches, is the most difficult of all, because you have to be adept at many approaches and know how to pick and choose and evaluate the results. That was another surprise, but also another opportunity. The lesson here for you is to be open to different approaches and to try to learn to use your critical thinking skills in all that you do. At SSA, we learned to collect data to inform practice. Does that sound familiar? Things haven't changed so much. We actually got a couple of articles published. That was much because I had stayed in touch, very close touch, with a couple of my mentors here at SSA, and we continued to be collaborators, and they served as consultants to the programs I was running. I'm not sure that was such a surprise, but it was an opportunity. The lesson here is for you to cherish and maintain your contacts and keep building your network, as you never know where it will take you or when you may need it. I eventually left the agency to pursue doctoral studies, but I still needed some income. That led, even though I was well supported at SSA, that led to some interesting surprises. First, my wife at the time, also a social worker, had applied for a job working in a long-term care advocacy organization, but they wanted somebody with more research skills. So we proposed to do a job share. We took on the job together, and that really enhanced my skills, not only as a researcher, but also as an advocate. It was another challenge, another surprise, and another opportunity. The lesson as you move ahead is to think outside the box. As a social worker, we can do all kinds of things. Dissertation time approached, so I decided to market myself. I went to several faculty members and offered to write grants for them. I had a couple ideas, and as I talked to them, it turned out they had some ideas also. So I did 2 or 3 project proposals, and one was accepted. And then I found myself not only as a doctoral student, but as project director for something called the Elderly Support Project. That was the ESP program, and that abbreviation caused all kinds of attention. Behavior analysis was strange enough, without someone making it look like something extrasensory or related to aliens or outer space. But people got used to it. I think in this case, I made the opportunity, and the surprise was to others, as the project eventually generated substantial funds as well as publications. By the time I finished the doctoral program and a couple of years as a research associate here, I had several articles and 2 books under my belt, as well as a beginning in informing some new fields of practice. The lesson for you is that taking risks and promoting your ideas may well have fruitful outcomes. Now I wanted to use my now even more developed skills as a clinician researcher in a clinical setting. So guess what? The University of Illinois Hospital was seeking some kind of senior coordinator in the hospital social work program, a faculty position where the teaching was mostly clinical. I could do clinical work as well as the research and writing and supervision I had come to love, and I was offered the job. That led to many more lessons learned, one of which is for you to be steadfast in your search for new opportunities. It may just come together in new ways to allow you to apply the knowledge and skills you've been developing here at UFC. The next challenge, as Dean Gitterman pointed out, was the HIV/AIDS epidemic. By now, I was fairly well established as a gerontological social worker. I was immersed in family care research and practice and some teaching, as well as work on Alzheimer's disease. So I began to sort of carve out an area of expertise. But the HIV thing was a big deal in the early 1980s, and I went to U of I just as the epidemic was hitting the Chicago area. In those days, there were no HIV experts. If you had a little bit of knowledge about something, you could take on and become an HIV expert in that area. So because I had a background in social work and long-term care, it made me almost an instant authority. The first cases I supervised were HIV-related cases. And I remember one woman in particular who had languished on the floor of the hospital for a year because there wasn't a nursing facility in the city that was willing to take her due to stigma and discrimination, and as we found out later, a perception that it wasn't going to be profitable. I began tracking data on these cases, and I got others in the community to do the same, and eventually sought funding, and we had something we called the AIDS Long-Term Care Advocacy Project, and we did quite a bit of community organizing. We worked with legislators, we worked with the media, we continued to collect data, we did freedom of information requests, and eventually we were able to persuade the state to set up a program that provided enhanced reimbursement for people with HIV, as well as consulting with several facilities that led to them having specific units. So as a result, I developed an interest not only in HIV, but HIV and long-term care, and from there it was a close step to go back to HIV in older adults, so I kind of made the connection. So again, there was a surprise moving from work with elders to work with HIV. That became a challenge, and I looked for opportunities to put people and resources together to address the problem. Now that, putting people and resources together to address the problem, was just good old social work, right? So I want to tell you before I kind of get to the end about a series of phone calls. The first was in 1987 when the US government announced the establishment of AIDS education and training centers. At the time, it seemed very late in the epidemic to have a program that specifically addressed the educational needs of health workers. I had an interdisciplinary grant at the University of Illinois to train providers about HIV in the medical center, and we'd done a couple of trainings. So I got a couple of phone calls, several phone calls, from people around the campus asking if I was going to apply for this, which seemed really outrageous to me. It really was doctors and public health experts who were doing this kind of thing. So I was a bit surprised, but I wasn't stupid. When you get those phone calls, you spring into action and you do what you can. So we applied twice, and we were funded for the Midwest AIDS Training and Education Center, which was the service grant that I held for 23 years. So I now moved from clinical work with clients and families and supervision of staff to overseeing a regional training center. Now my clients consisted of the 7 states. And this has been the only center led by social workers, and for many years it was housed in a school of social work. So more skills, more opportunities, more surprises. The lesson here relates to grabbing the opportunities and not being afraid to stretch beyond your professional comfort zone. The center grew and thrived in the early years, but by 1995, what do we have? Federal budget cuts. And what happened? Well, the Labor, Health, and Human Service Committee decided to zero out the AIDS Education and Training Center program. I was on sabbatical at the time, studying the psychosocial needs of older adults, and I got the phone call. Nathan, you have to come back. Why? Well, it was John Porter of Lake County, Illinois, who chaired this committee. So the whole rest of the country blamed me for the fact that it was being zeroed out, because we were supposed to be educating our legislators as we went along. So we did some advocacy. We organized a national group. We joined a coalition and got people to lobby for us. We did a lot of work in the community. And as a result, 75% of the funds were retained. And then by the next year, we were back to where we were before. And we never quite got to where we should be. But that's what it is, working with the federal government. As a result, when President Clinton, remember him, signed the Ryan White Care Act reauthorization, I was invited to the White House signing ceremony. So I bought a new suit, got on a plane, and went. There I was with all the leadership of the national HIV organizations. The lesson here is that even if you don't think of yourself as a legislative advocate, the chance may come up to move things along, and you have to go for it. A bit earlier, I got another call, this time from the AIDS Foundation of Chicago. I've been helping them to develop a case management system for a while, and they had this gentleman in their office who said he was a virologist and he was doing HIV testing in Romania, which at the time had the highest pediatric AIDS documented case rate in the world. And his lab technicians didn't know how to give test results, so they asked if I would come and train them. So I went down there and talked to him. It's another story. He turned out to be a veterinarian, and I never saw him again. However, I did go over there and meet with his technicians, and we got this little grant that we applied for from the World AIDS Foundation to go and do some training there. So I went there 7 or 8 times to do some training of health providers about HIV. The lesson here is that our horizons can be very broad, and our social work skills serve us well in whatever we do. So after that, I was considered an international social worker of sorts. After taking off from this for a while, I went to the World AIDS Conference in Africa, the first one, and really the only one that's been ever held there, and spent time with a fellow student who graduated from SSA. We were doctoral students together, and she asked me to do some work on an HIV program in Namibia. I thought about doing a Fulbright there, but in the meantime, some of us at U of I got involved with restarting a school of social work in Ethiopia. So instead I did my Fulbright there, teaching and studying HIV medication adherence, another surprise and another opportunity. The work in Ethiopia led to an invitation to go to Tanzania to help a school there, and the rest is history, and something like 40 trips for me back and forth. In Tanzania alone, we've trained almost 5,000 volunteer, what we're calling parasocial workers, which the federal government here adopted as an indicator and a best practice. So all of a sudden, I'm in demand. Because I'm the one who said we should call them parasocial workers, which is very controversial, by the way. Some people think it enhances social work, other people think it diminishes it. So the work has led to some interesting outcomes. And in addition to which, the focus has been on children and families. So, I started working with children and families, then I worked with older adults, then I worked with people with HIV, and now I'm back working with children and families. So things keep going around. You have to be prepared. I want to say that I've retired, having to learn new roles and new challenges. The surprise here is that careers have beginnings, middles, and some kind of transition point, but the opportunities keep coming to engage people in their situations at various levels. This is a particularly interesting time to be entering new roles in the field of social work, so I want to commend you for doing that. In the areas I've worked in, healthcare, international social work, work with families, there are emerging opportunities. In addition to the complex mysteries of the reformed healthcare system here in the US, there's been an increased interest in building the social service workforce throughout the world. This focus on workforce development has assembled what is now being referred to as a social service sector alongside the healthcare workforce sector. And there are funds and grants and resources being poured into this all over the world. It encompasses not only social work, but some related fields like child and youth work, community development, and substance use. I can't help think that SSA's long-term identity as the School of Social Service Administration is forward-thinking and provides unique preparation to move the workforce ahead. Even though when you graduate with your AM from a School of Social Service Administration, you're going to have to explain how that's really an MSW, but has some special features. As you can see, this affords us more opportunities for leadership, and the window of opportunity to build workforce programs is before us just in time for your graduation. When I worked in Romania, I often heard and saw written on the walls of some of the clinics and labs a particular quote. They told me this was their motto and really fit the oppressive political climate they had experienced. I heard also that the US military adapted this as a theme during World War II, but I'm not trying to pay attention to that. At any rate, it seems to apply to what we'll do in the future. Here's the quote. "The difficult we do immediately, the impossible takes a little longer. For you, the lesson is to do what you can when you can, dream of what can happen in the future, and make the most of surprises and opportunities as they come along." I'd like to summarize all these lessons very briefly as you move on to your future career. First, look far and wide for new opportunities, but don't overlook those close at hand or new ways to apply your knowledge and skills. Be open to different approaches and try to find ways to think outside the box. Don't be afraid of outrageous challenges. I knew we would get to this. Take risks and promote your ideas. It may well have fruitful outcomes. Stretch beyond your professional comfort zone. Be prepared to be an advocate. Cherish and maintain your contacts and keep building and using those networks. As you get hooded tonight and graduate this weekend, my wish for you is to expect the unexpected. Plan what you can, but take advantage of those unusual opportunities that may take you to another place. Be true to yourself and your values. Great things are in store for each of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Linsk. I now have the great honor to present this year's Faculty Award. SSA is, as our students know, is a place full of superb and dedicated teachers and colleagues. And last year, SSA's doctoral students took it upon themselves to launch a new award for excellence in doctoral student mentoring in order to recognize and honor one faculty member each year who provides especially meritorious intellectual and professional guidance and education to our doctoral students, who themselves will graduate and take up the charge of advancing the intellectual and educational and professional foundations of social work as future academics, scholars, and leaders. I'm delighted that the recipient of this year's Award for Excellence in Doctoral Student Mentoring at SSA is Professor Gina Miranda Samuels. Professor Samuels, would you please join me at the podium? As you can see, she's well loved at SSA. Professor Samuels was enthusiastically nominated for this award by a group of our doctoral students who especially lauded her for her profoundly dedicated support in their studies and in her deep influence on their scholarly development and career trajectories. Would you please join me in congratulating Professor Samuels on receiving this well-deserved award? Okay, now I invite SSA's Dean of Students, Celia Bergman, to the podium. Dean Bergman, along with SSA Alumni Association President Jacob Dancer, will present this year's Student Honor Awards. Dean Bergman.
Good evening, everyone. At this time, it gives me great honor to present two students who are the recipients of our Distinguished Student Awards for 2013-14. SSA faculty and field instructors were invited to submit nominations for each award, and a committee of faculty and administrators made the final selections. Each student will receive a certificate and a $500 prize. At this time, I would like to ask SSA Alumni Association President Jacob Dancer to assist with presenting these awards. Jacob will also be hooding each award recipient. The first award is the Sonia G. Bears Honor Award, given to a graduating master's degree student for outstanding work with special consideration given to promise of future achievement in the field of service to older adults. Marvin Bears, an SSA graduate, initiated this award in 1977 in honor of his mother. This year's award goes to Maria Duda. Maria graduated with distinction from Illinois Wesleyan University in 2011 with a major in Greek and Roman studies. Maria's volunteer experience is extensive and includes serving as a family resource intern at Heartland Head Start, serving as a hospice volunteer with OSF Eastern Hospice, and serving as a volunteer for the Mediterranean Center for the Arts and Sciences in Sicily. Maria's most recent field placement was at the PLOWS Council on Aging, where she has been co-creating and co-leading a support group for grandparents raising grandchildren. As part of the Older Adult Studies program, Maria also worked with the Bridge Transitional Care Partnership Program and completed a rotation with Horizon Hospice. Her field consultant notes, Maria is a bright, thoughtful, hardworking young woman committed to the field of aging. She works very well with clients, and she is willing to extend herself and deal with challenging situations. Maria, congratulations on receiving the Sonia Bears Honor Award. The next award is the Solomon O. Lichter Memorial Prize, given to graduating master's degree students for scholarship and professional leadership. The family, friends, and colleagues of Solomon O. Lichter, who received his master's degree from SSA in 1941, established this memorial. Mr. Lichter worked for the Jewish Family and Community Services, and later served as Executive Director of Scholarship and Guidance. He was known for his creative and innovative approach to social work practice and his love for teaching. This year's Solomon O. Lichter Memorial Prize goes to Lisa Margulies. Lisa graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Madison in 2002. She was inducted into the National Honor Society of Collegiate Scholars in 1999. She majored in psychology. As an EEP student, Lisa has been working full-time while attending school. Since 2003, she has served as a juvenile probation officer at the Cook County Juvenile Court. As a clinical student, Lisa's concentration field placement was at the Sonia Shankman Orthogenic School. In her nomination letter, one of her professors writes, Lisa demonstrates a high level of commitment to the mission and values of social work, along with an extraordinary academic curiosity and enthusiasm for learning. Lisa is without question one of the most positive, constructive, and hardworking students I have worked with in my years at SSA, one who is certain to make a strong and lasting contribution to the profession of social work. Congratulations, Lisa, on receiving the Solomon O. Lichter Memorial Prize. Congratulations, Maria and Lisa. And now the big moment. I'd like to introduce Michael Yogerst, Assistant Dean and Director of Career Services at SSA, who will commence with the reading of the names of this year's spring graduates in our master's program. SSA faculty, whose names are listed in your program, will hood the graduates. Michael?
Dean Gooderman, members of the SSA, faculty and staff, honored guests. It is my distinct honor to present to you at this evening's hooding ceremony the candidates for the master's degree from the University of Chicago, the School of Social Service Administration, the class of 2014. As we proceed with tonight's ceremony, we would ask, as difficult as it may be, that our applause and recognition of our graduates be withheld until all students have been hooded. Thank you. Sylvia Laura Acosta. Paige Azuma. Kyle Vincent Barrett-Smith. Johanna Engler Berry. Greer Catherine Beckman. Alvy Bender. Bria Marie Berger. Emily Berkman. Catherine R. Berenger. Maxwell Newson Bashirs. Brittany R. Betts. Kristen Laura Black. Claire Eileen Borgeson. Holly Marie Branshaft White. Naomi Brown. Joseph Aaron Bruce. Sean Burr. Amana Bat Sharif. Lily Mulcahy Camp. Rachel Castleman. Chelsea Annette Castro. Kate Siobhan Clancy. Allison Ann Clemens. Laura Stephanie Cohen. Skylar Suzanne Cole. Kenneth W. Coleman. Michael Coleman. Zua Tsue. Megan Marie Culbertson. Christine C. Cusack. Elizabeth Diaz. Caitlin Carmelina Dida. Erica Naomi Donica. Elizabeth Lee Doran. Lauren Barry Drake. Kathleen Kawanko Tupaya. LaShawn Etheridge. April Fairgrieve. Lauren Elizabeth Feig. Kimberly Ann Elizabeth Fisher. Molly Jenna Flink. Jacob Owen Freilich. Serena Fernari. Victoria Furstenau. Veronica Ruth Garcia. Jacqueline Garlock. Samantha Page Garrett. Dylan Suzanne Genest. Emily Ann Giangrande. Danielle Gibbons. Samantha Giovanetti. Graham R. Golden. Jamie Morgan Grazi. Lauren Erica Hall. Tahani Hamad. Gregory Bernard Hampton II. Erica Marie Hansen. Ellie Hart. Meredith Ellen Herbst. Claire Carey Hipschman. Marissa Beth Hirsch. Alyssa Rachel Hoffman. Jonathan David Holmes. Scott Houghton. Justin Howes. Leora Ann Hudak. Sean Lamar Hudson. Julia E. Genvy. Lauren Ann Johnson. Amanda Michelle Jones. Sarah Elizabeth Johnston. Hannah Jones. Sarah Lynn Jones. Alexandra Lee Joseph. Todd Christopher Junkins. Joshua Eli Kaplan Lyman. Emma Katz. Kristen Marie Kennedy. Angela Christie Kushnud. Jacqueline Renee King Papadopoulos. Elizabeth Ann Crowell. Jessica Cunan. Ingrid Villa Ladden. Dana Marie Landau. Chelsea Lawn. Mallory Lee. Samantha Joyce Lee. Abigail Eve Levin. Kimberly M. Lenup. Yi Long. Madeline Claire Lupe. Jeremy Dylan Lynch. Brenna Christine Mackin. Hina Mahmood.
Emily Manane. Ella Marquina. Paula Joanne Martin. Sarah Marie Martin. Lori Forsyth Maxwell. Bethany Maynard Moody. Megan Ashley McCartney. Kimberly LaShawn McGee. Kristen Elise McKay. Catherine Elizabeth McKelvey. Ariel Marissa Mellinger. Sarah Elizabeth Meyer. Sarah Catherine Miles. Emily Suzanne Miller. Suzanne Olivia Millman. Christopher M. Mills. Megan Elizabeth Monod. Carolyn Elizabeth Morales. Laura Janet Morales. Alexandra Hope Morocco. H. Karina Morris. Sylvia Munoz. Reagan Murphy. Megan Elizabeth Murray. Michelle Marie Musial. Olivia Sima Ndiabaje. Caitlin Nevin. Rebecca Lynn Neubauer. Kevin Nunez. Molly Catherine O'Connell. Stephanie Omazy. Tyler William Oram. Valerie Nicole Papillon. Brittany Michelle Parenti. Rachel Anna Bojas Pate. Beatrice Perez. Stephen Michael Grafton Philp. Rachel Esther Podell. Hillary May Presper. Allison K. Pullman. Shelley Keelis. Jasmine Rahman. Courtney Ann Reagan. Jacqueline Reeves. Molly Rentz. Alyssa Ryan Rotblatt. Pierre James Rowan. Ariel Giovanni Ruiz Soto. Holly Sansom. Edgar Christopher Santa Cruz. Okay. Shannon Georgiana Sapolich. Jenna Victoria Sarek. Colin Brady Schofield. Caitlin Egan Schreiber. Amy Schumacher. Valerie Sitzlowitz. Barry Lloyd Schaefer. Micah Gabriel Shapiro. Catherine Heather Simon. Martha Lyles Simon. Kathleen Judge Smith. Leanne Smith Gary. Lauren Sokol. Heather Ann Stelnicki. Sarah Ann Stevens. Kathleen Michelle Stevens. Carol Janice Stone. Jennifer Ha Tan. Alexa Tarter. Caitlin Marie Thompson. Brielle Rebecca Treese. Sarah Troutman. Angelica Marlon Velasquillo Franco. Lauren Marie Wagner. Caitlin Elise Wark. Samantha Marie Warner. Shakira Romanita Washington. David Anthony Watsula. Lauren Elizabeth Webb. Christina Weems. Ariel Rebecca Weston. Cassandra Noel Whitfield. Connor James Williams. David Monsky Williams. Esther Wang. Shantae Warsham. Maggie Lauren Woznicki. Nicole Ann Wutovich. Yue Shu. Stephanie Ariel Young. Susan Annie Zachariah. To Dean Neil Guterman, faculty, staff, parents, and friends, I present to you the 2014 candidates for the Masters of Arts degree of the School of Social Service Administration.
Great. Now you all joined in and in the whooping together. That was great. Okay, now it's my honor to announce the names of the students who have earned the Doctor of Philosophy degree at SSA. Each of these individuals has successfully completed a specialized program of study prescribed by the faculty of SSA and has defended a scholarly dissertation that advances our professional body of knowledge. They will be hooded by a faculty member from their doctoral dissertation committee. Would the faculty PhD hooders please rise and join Professor Zipnicki, if you haven't already, at the hooding table. Andrew Warren Brake. Ashley Curry. Alana Janelle Gunn. Colleen Carey Katz. Zhengxi Xu. Will you please join me in congratulating the doctoral class of 2014? And now, before we close the ceremony, I would like to ask all the graduates, masters, and PhD if you would please stand and turn and face your guests so that your guests may collectively congratulate and applaud you. Congratulations. And in return, let us, new graduates and social work colleagues all, take a moment to express our appreciation and gratitude for family and friends for the love and support they provided to help us to reach this moment. Graduates, we hope they'll continue to sustain you, that you'll continue to sustain them, and that together we will strengthen the social fabric of our society. Congratulations, graduates.